Am I the asshole for firing an employee after his parents died? I'm the VP of sales at a software company, and one of our sales development reps' parents passed away at the beginning of April. Sadly, they were involved in a car crash and both lost their lives. Now the employee in question is a very young 22-year-old guy and has been with us for about 10 months now. He's a great employee, and we were thinking about promotions in the next 6 months for him. His job is a high-paying one for a new grad, about $90K with commission and base, so we expect a lot from this position. Because of the accident, we let him take a 1-month paid leave of absence from work, and he's returned a few weeks ago, and his performance is severely lacking. He's super unmotivated, not cold calling, outreaching to prospects for the last 2 to 3 weeks enough since he's come back. Our whole management team has noticed this, and we decided to let him go because we feel like he'd need months and months to be able to produce again, and we can't just wait that long. We called him into a meeting on Friday afternoon and gave him the bad news. He was very calm and rude about it. Told us to go fuck ourselves and got up and went to his desk, grabbed his few things and left. I thought this was very, very unprofessional and extremely rude. I told my boyfriend about all of this, and he said myself and my management team are a bunch of asses and pricks with no hearts. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for ruining Thanksgiving? I, 30F, met my BF, 30M, 3 years ago. Before me, he was together with his HS sweetheart. They fell out of love and broke up. A year later, we started dating. His mom, however, was still heartbroken about it. I was very understanding and thought she needed time to get to know me. The ex basically grew up with them, and they saw her as a part of the family. For the first year of my relationship, his mom would call me ex's name, until BF got angry once and told her to be nice. She laughed it off and said it was just a habit. After that, she started calling me the wrong name. Janet instead of Jenny, fictional names just for the story. I corrected her a couple of times, but she seemed to like hurting me, so I ignored it later. My BF has 2 sisters, and a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving, we were invited to barbecue at the older sister's house. I was in the kitchen with my BF's mom, the sisters, and one of their husbands. The older sister then talked about how my BF praised my cooking to her husband, and the mom was listening. She then said out loud, "Sure. Why don't we let Janet make the turkey this year?" The sisters giggled and looked at each other, and I said, "That's a great idea." I didn't tell my BF what happened. On Thanksgiving, we went to his mom's house with the usual wine and dessert. She was shocked. Everybody was shocked. I said, "What?" "I thought Janet is bringing the turkey." There was yelling, crying, and then we got kicked out. My BF is so angry with me, he hasn't talked to me since. I think it's over, TBH. But I still don't think I did anything wrong. Did I? Am I the asshole for yelling at my girlfriend to stop fucking eating? My M26 sister, F23, runs a bakery business, and she's been struggling lately to keep up with orders because she's been short-staffed. She does a lot of orders for wedding cakes that require custard or marmalade fillings, and I offered to help her out by making these fillings at home and bringing them to her so she has less work to do. Unfortunately, the past 4 times I've made these fillings, my girlfriend, F24, has literally dipped her fingers into the filling jars and contaminated them because, in her words, she just wanted to try some. I've tried explaining to her that she can't dip her fingers in and contaminate the entire batch, because then I have to remake it. I said she should use a spoon and take some out if she wants to try so bad, but she just pouts and says that she likes using her fingers because it takes her back to her childhood. Today, I was trying to finish some chocolate custard to send it over to my sister really fast because she was running late on a wedding cake order for an important client. I told my girlfriend beforehand to not eat the custard, and if she really wanted to please use a spoon. I get out of the shower, and what do I see? She has her fingers in it again. I totally lost it because this is the 5th time she blatantly disregarded what I said, and I yelled at her and told her to stop fucking eating the food I'm making because it's not for her and she's contaminating it. She started crying and got mad at me for fat-shaming her, even though I made no comment on her weight and she has no history of weight issues or eating disorders. I know I was harsh, but she kept pushing my limits. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for using flashcards to explain to my brother and his wife why they can't bring their rainbow baby to my wedding? My fiancé, F, and I, M, are getting married. We've decided wedding's gonna be child-free. No hate towards children, just to keep it more organized and contained. My brother, Chris, M, and his wife, F, have a 3-year-old son who everyone calls Miracle or Rainbow Baby. He came after several failed pregnancies that lasted for years. When they found out that my nephew was included in the no children rule, they tried to convince me to make an exception for him. Chris told me his son is a miracle baby and his presence at the wedding will bring blessings for me and my fiancé. I refused and said no, the wedding is child-free. His wife kept sending my fiancé pics of my nephew when he was months old. What that mean? I told them no and to stop. My brother told me this might cause a rift in our relationship. I again said no and explained that the wedding is child-free. He asked again and pointed out how his baby is different since he's a rainbow, a miracle baby. I again said no and explained that the wedding is child-free. They brought it up when they visited at my home and I knew they weren't going to stop, so I'd made flashcards in advance with the phrase, "The wedding is child-free, period," and pulled them out and started slowly showing them the flashcards one by one in this order. The wedding, with a sticker of bride and groom. Is child, with a sticker of a baby. FREE, with a sticker of a prohibited sign. Period, with a huge black dot sticker. They both were stunned. I asked if they get it now and Chris had lost his shit. His wife had already grabbed her stuff and walked out. Chris called me an asshole for doing this and said that I disrespected him, his wife, and their son, who's my one and only nephew. He rushed out after we argued. My fiancé saw the whole thing and thought that it was funny, but my parents and Chris are livid beyond measure. They're telling everyone about the amount of disrespect and mockery I had displayed towards them, and I'm being told to fix it now. Am I the asshole for telling the girl who kissed my boyfriend for a play that she is desperate and pathetic? I, 19F, study drama at uni, and my boyfriend is on the same course. My boyfriend is a really good-looking guy, but he doesn't seem to know it. He gets a lot of attention from girls and, for the most part, doesn't seem to get that they're flirting with him. I'm not generally annoyed by this and never really say anything. However, there's one girl in our class, let's call her Victoria, who is obsessed with my boyfriend. She goes out of her way to be paired with him in group activities. For example, if the professor picks groups by numbering us 1, 2, 3, she will move herself to be in the same number as him. And she recently stepped down from a main role in a play we're doing so she could be in a more minor one, simply because this character has a romance with my boyfriend. I know this is the case, because I've heard her say to her friends that she thinks he's hot and whatnot. I've never said anything to her about it, because she seems pretty insecure, always complaining about how she thinks she's ugly, and I don't see it as a big deal because my boyfriend doesn't care. However, we recently performed the play and had a small after-party where she got slightly drunk and was bragging about how she definitely felt something when they kissed in the play and she's going to ask him if he felt the same. I rolled my eyes and again ignored it until she actually went up to my boyfriend. She was a little bit drunk, and when she went up to him I was there too. Victoria started saying that she knows he must have felt a spark, he's a really good kisser, etc. I snapped and sort of shouted at her that, "You sound incredibly desperate, going after somebody else's boyfriend. You're pathetic if you think a stage kiss means you should be together." She looked super embarrassed and walked away, and I later heard she'd gone home crying. I feel like a dick because she's obviously insecure and whatnot, and her friends haven't stopped calling me a bitch since. AITA? Edit. She 100% knows that I am his girlfriend. I have heard her talking about me being his girlfriend before. Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend that being depressed is not an excuse for being lazy? Ultimately, I realized that the majority of the blame was mine. I never ever should have called her lazy because that isn't what she is. I lashed out and I shouldn't have. She stayed at her mother's for a few days and we eventually met up to talk. I told her how it just got too much for me, but it was no excuse for lashing out and I apologized. She apologized also, not that she needed to, and we talked for a long while about how we can make our relationship work. I expressed my concerns over her therapist, who is very against anything other than talking therapy. She agreed that he didn't seem to really have her best interests at heart, and she is currently looking for someone new. For now, I suggested she stops looking for work. She got a lot of rejections, and I could see it was upsetting her more. I just felt we should take a step back from that, and I want her to focus a little more on herself. She was unsure as she felt bad that I would be working for both of us, but I assured her it is fine. I make enough to support us both quite comfortably. I also suggested maybe she could volunteer at some point just to get her out and get some more stuff on her resume. I'm no therapist, so these were just suggestions, but it has seemed to have taken some of the pressure off her, which is all I wanted. We agreed that being in the apartment all day alone and in bed is not good for her. So, we came up with a plan that she do an exercise video 3 times a week. It's only a 10-minute one, just so she is doing something. She has found she likes doing them, they make her feel a bit better after, and has started something called yoga now too. To help me, she has 1 chore a day to do. I don't care what it is. It could be dishes, or it could just be putting the laundry in the hamper. This rule has at least gotten her out of bed for part of the day, and she's found that once she starts, she sometimes ends up doing more than one thing. I make sure to show my appreciation for whatever she has done, no matter how small it was. We have set out that every Sunday we will have a deep cleaning day where we get everything done for the week. This has been surprisingly successful. We make it fun and just mess around while still getting things done. It makes the week a lot more manageable when we only have light chores to keep on top of. She is trying more, and I am also working on being more supportive about her depression. I'm researching it more and learning ways I can help her because it is a part of her. We are both putting more effort in and communicating a lot better. I hope we keep making progress because I do love her very much and want us to work.